I'm Andrew Mann, Revival Building Group, and we're done this project. Was it?
We always pick the most opportune times to start filming. This happens every time. He's almost done. All right, we gotta be quick. The lawn's about to get mowed. We're out here, Bailey basement, movie theater going in. This is the second official day. We wrapped up the egress stairs earlier in the spring, and now we're starting the rest of the basement today. We've got the demo boys out here, and we're getting after it. All the drywall, studs, insulation, everything that's in the way of the rest of the progress is getting taken out today. Let's go. I have something to do. No, it's for you. Stay right there. A little measuring tape for a little person. Are you bleeding? He's out. All the way up center. Ready? Toes clear? Yep.
Watch that one. That's all for it, Jack. That's how the Egyptians did it.
This is how they built the pyramids, Andrew.
That's why I put that piece of wood down there, dude. I watched this Ancient Aliens all day, dude.
And then give us a little toot-ski. Forward, go some toot-ski, like 2 feet.
I'll give you a little toot.
Alright.
Seesaws or
That's not a seesaw.
what they call them?
A teeter-totter?
Teeter-totter? Yeah, it's a seesaw or something like that.
Yeah, no, a seesaw's a teeter-totter, but it's not
Put it on the patio.
We gotta get another
Walk
thing
right
under
out
here.
of the garden.
Yeah. A little bit
2,
more.
3.
As much as a little bit.
Here, Jack. Right to the 2.
Chase is on right now.
Okay. Are we high?
Yeah. We're good. You're good. You're good. Up a little bit. Up. You got it in there.
Alright, my foot's on the jack.
You have to say over.
Ready, Freddy? Over.
I'm ready as I'll ever be. Over. Keep coming, you're almost to the second jack. Over. We're fine, hold on 1 second. Push 4 feet in.
You have to say over.
Ready, Freddy? Over.
Over. Stop. Over. We're moving the jack. Give us a second. Over.
They do it to me all morning. Like, stop.
Stand by for further direction. Over. Push 4 more feet in. Over.
Pushing 4 feet. Over.
So like the Sandlot.
Yeah. This is like the Sandlot, but like the risks are a lot higher than a big.
Take off a little bit of pressure off of that.
Good now. Perfect.
Go. Stop.
Stop.
Go.
All about 3 feet from home. Keep going over.
Alright,
We good?
that's it.
No, we just gotta straighten it out.
Yeah, we're gonna straighten it out. Alright.
That's it, Liam. We're good.
Months went into this beam.
Anybody have a beer? Over.
Anyone have a beer?
I do, but they're still at the store. So today here at Bailey, we are taking the first major step in this basement renovation. We took the post out of the basement, removed the original I-beam that's in the middle of the movie area. The post was just in the way of the overall setup of the basement in terms of like symmetry and things like that, so we had to get rid of it, put a bigger beam in. Mike Ross and his team made quick work of the beam. I think we calculated the new beam weighs about 660 pounds. So, you know, as you saw us moving in here, it wasn't light, but it's in there, it's in place right now. Tomorrow we're gonna start getting the rest of that room framed up, the stadium seating framed up, and start moving into finalizing the rest of the framing scope so we can get into rough-ins with electric, HVAC, and plumbing. We already have our plumbing trench dug, so once we are done with the beam and the little bit of framing we have left, the trades will come in and we'll be moving forward. This basement is one of a kind. Just looks like a plain old basement right now, but the technology and the cinema and the acoustics that are going into this project are really cool and top notch, and we're really excited to be working with Worldwide Stereo on this project. And that's a wrap on today. It was hard work, and thank God we have really good guys that don't mind putting in some hard work. We appreciate them, and we'll see you in the next one. So inside the cinema, all the ceiling on both sides, the soffit has to be symmetrical for visual lighting, and then probably acoustical reasons on top of that. And then we have a 2-tiered couch setup, and this deck is obviously much larger than a couch, so like this deck had to be built so that the entire couch could recline out to the full distance, full capacity that it's capable, and still not hit the couch in front of it. We're not sure quite yet. We don't have these top pieces of wood screwed down yet either. We have to insulate inside here, and then we're also probably gonna shrink this platform a little bit. We are operating on the fly with the measurements because there's been some last minute changes with the furniture due to availability of the original furniture. So we're operating with a lot of details, and we're trying to make sure everything's right. So once we get those details, this will get trimmed back. We will make sure this is all insulated and foamed properly, and then it will be on to preparing the walls for acoustics and then installing this rubber membrane on the floor. That's a lot like a gym floor to absorb the base between the concrete and the carpet. Kind of talking outside of my area of expertise there. I was told to put it on the floor, and it seems important, so we're going to do an excellent job with that. So we're back, Bailey Basement Cinema. We've got one of the cinema files over there. We'll check in with him in a second. He's got a lot to tell us, and our new and improved microphone holder is gonna be perfect. But we have had a lot happen here since we last checked in. Last time, the steel beam was getting upgraded, upsized, and we had a lot going on with that. That has been installed and inspected, and now the entire cinema is framed, and all of the rough-ins are getting wrapped up over today and next week. We pretty much have all of the bathroom finished up in terms of all of the electrical, HVAC, and plumbing. We're just waiting on a couple of fixtures to verify locations. And then we're only waiting on the designer to walk through to make sure that our lighting layout is up to standard, because we have our beautiful lighting layout. This is version 1, version 2, the way that the ceiling lights are laying out, and these awesome trunk line of ductwork and the plumbing and the steel beam over here, it's making it challenging, so we're trying to figure that out. In addition to that, we still got to wrap up the ceilings here. We have these cool little bump up tray ceilings. They try to take advantage of the height of the ceiling where they could when they framed the basement 20 or whatever years ago, 10 maybe. And we're going to close this one in, leave the one above the kitchen, and then leave the ones that are symmetrical over like the office area. But our ejector pit has been installed. All of the concrete work is finished, and we're moving on to the major part, which is the cinema. We've had a lot of action here over the last week with all of the speaker wires, HDMI wires. So we're gonna talk to Ryan. We're going in. Don't be weird, Ryan. So we're here with Ryan Rumor of Worldwide Stereo. We've been friends a long time, and this is actually their project that we're technically helping them out with. Ryan is here making sure all of his stuff is dialed in and ready to go. We have a lot going on in here. I guess take us through keep it English for us, Ryan.
Of course. Thank you for your help on all this.
You can hold it.
All right. Hi, everyone. So what's going on here is a full-on movie theater. So all the wiring that you see around has been pulled for speakers, subwoofers, projector location, as well as low volt wiring. So this is going to give him the performance that he is looking for when he first came and met me probably about 2 years ago now. So it's finally coming to fruition. And then once all the wiring has been checked, which it's all amazing, then we're going to put the finishing touches on it, which is like some room acoustics and drywall, and wrap this up like a nice present for him.
Yeah, so what he said. No, there is a lot going on in here in terms of the symmetry of the room and how everything is laying out. Gilmar up here is standing up on the platform that's built up on the floor to give the second row of seating a better view of the screen. So the screen right now, I believe it's right about here.
Yep.
The bottom of the screen, and then the top of the screen is right about here. About how big are we talking here?
So this screen is going to be about 145 inches across.
145 inches across, so from there to about here?
Yeah, so the two most inner 2x4s, that's about how big our screen is.
Okay.
We wanted to maximize that space.
And then up behind where there's seating, this is like a normal movie theater, right? So like the projector's gonna go in above where they're seating?
Yeah. So he didn't want to see the projector at all in the space. So what's happening is this is all getting framed out to hold the projector, as well as some additional equipment that he would like close to his theater, like game consoles. So the controller can talk to the game console itself.
So on the other side of this, we're actually building a full built-in cabinet that has shelves on the other side of this wall. But in the top of that cabinet will house the projector unit and an additional fan for ventilation to kind of hide the projector in a place that we can also access it in the future on this side where all of the cables and everything will be featured. So that's pretty awesome in my opinion. And then we've got full recline chairs and things like that as well. One cool thing that I found out about the chairs recently, I don't know if you know, but the chairs actually like vibrate and have, functionality to them. So when, the movie's going on, you're gonna get the full effect. So the more and more we get into this project, the more and more I feel like I'm just gonna have to like work out a deal with the customer and keep my key.
I think so.
Right here, we have an additional focused area strictly for gaming. We have this built-in that was already here when the customer purchased the house that's getting new doors, new hardware, sprayed new color, and then we powered everywhere that we could possibly get it so that we could power every game system known to man. And then behind me right here, the wall is framed shut, but right here we're gonna have one of the AV racks on display through a glass door, obviously to kind of insulate from the HVAC room, but you'll actually be able to see all of like the components, the cool features of the electronics will be on display. So the kitchen's staying pretty much the way it is. It is getting a full refresh. We are removing the doors and hardware, upgrading all of that. We are getting it refinished, new backsplash, all new under cabinet lights. So I guess it is getting a little bit more than just a little facelift. And then we have some arcade equipment coming in and the full bathroom with the, some custom cabinetry from Lotus Craftworks. The whole basement floor is going to be heated and tile, of course, from Tile Studio. These walls and everything is very early 2000s, and I can't wait for everyone to see how drastic of a change and like what Shannon has designed and Worldwide and Cinematech have designed, and see it all come together. I'm very grateful to get to put it all together for everybody. There's a lot of different designers involved in this job, but everybody really cares about what they're working on and has been working together really seamlessly. So I think this project's going to come together nice. Can you hear me, Gilmore? Can you hear me? You hear how quiet it is in here? It's nice. We've done a lot since we were last here. This is probably going to be the best sounding video we've ever made, non-podcast, because we're done insulation for the most part in the movie theater. The movie theater's framed. We have the track on the wall with these cool little clips. All of the sound bats or sound insulation is in the wall. Now, all the walls don't call for the insulation because this wall is actually going to be see-through. The fabric, the sound fabric that's going over top of this, you won't be able to see the actual wall. This will all be painted black, and the speakers and all the equipment that sit back here will actually have their own lighting system. When you're sitting here in the room, this is just going to look like a black wall, and you're going to be able to turn on a separate set of lights that just like lights up all the equipment. So this wall behind the screen wall, this gets the drywall. All the rest of the surfaces get the drywall. We're using a Quiet Rock product in this basement, at least in this area. Quiet Rock, there's a variety of different products for, sound dampening. It's very popular with our customers in basements in particular because you want to get that sound insulation between the first floor and the basement. When people are walking around or you're downstairs watching a movie, you want to separate those sound areas. But this room sounds amazing. Getting into these little sound clips, they're unique. Once you really look at them, they're not that sophisticated. And I don't mean that like in an insulting way, because what they do is, at least what I'm told they do, it's really powerful. And in my opinion, like the cost, which probably varies depending on how much you order or who you order it from, varies, but it basically mounts on top of the wood studs. So it separates the drywall, which gets mounted to this metal track, and then these have this little groove in there which perfectly sit inside the groove of the track. These get mounted to the stud, and then when the vibration or the sound is bouncing around in here and it hits the drywall vibrates, then the metal vibrates, and then the metal is sitting in this like rubber membrane layer, and it does what's called uncoupling. It uncouples the structure of the room from, I guess, the drywall. But uncoupling is basically like when you separate two different building materials from each other. There's, you hear about uncoupling in tile. It's a widely used construction word, but in this instance, it's basically just indicating that we're separating the drywall from the rigid structure of the house. And in doing so, it's going to improve the sound quality of the room. I've never used this product. We got this product from Worldwide Stereo, who is supplying all of the equipment and all of like the technical know-how for us on this project. So if you're interested more about this, I would give Worldwide Stereo a call. They do have a really huge, wide online presence. You don't necessarily need to be local to us. You can hit them up on the phone. They have a whole team of people that can help you out and ship you the products you need. Last time, I think we were just starting to get ready to wire all the movie theater, projector, the screen, the lighting, all the speakers, the rear speakers, speakers in the ceiling, subwoofers. This whole platform was much larger, but then we were doing all these kinds of trigonometry, mathematics, to figure out these seats, and then those seats, like these seats don't recline the way these do. So like we got the platform shrunk down to this as small as it could be. This is all filled with insulation as well. So this room is pretty much encapsulated. We're ready for drywall at this point. I talked about the Quiet Rock. We are also using all these different kind of like foam padding and different caulk products like the Quiet Seal to seal around the lower areas that'll be exposed. The drywall won't completely cover all the way to the ground, because in a basement, you don't want to touch the drywall to the ground because it'll soak up moisture. Fun fact, caulking all of the seams and everything like that so that the sound doesn't escape the room room, traps it, and it sounds the way it's engineered. All this stuff is designed and engineered and planned by like a really skilled professional. Shout out to Worldwide Stereo. As you can see, some of these walls are as close to the outside foundation as possible. So back here, that wall is framed in front of concrete foundation. And then we framed this wall to make the room symmetrical. So this wall over here is as close to the foundation as you can possibly get it already. And that prevented us from putting any more insulation, because this is the insulation that we need in here for code. And then we didn't want to make the room any smaller. So this is going to have to suffice. And based upon how great it sounds in here already, once we get the rubber floor installed and the foam and all the caulk and then the drywall and then the carpet on top of all of that with the furniture, you're not even gonna hear me snap, Gilmar. It doesn't sound bad, but it sounds normal in here. We're back. Like when you walk in there, I hope it comes out on the video how good it sounds in there. Like I hope you can tell, because if you can't, that's just a travesty. Because like you'll just have to trust us. We could be lying to everybody. Can you hear me? You hear how quiet it is in here? Yeah, not that it doesn't sound bad. It doesn't sound bad. In here, everything again, like all the installations in here, we like to, every project, this is every project, regardless if the customer asks for it or not, we put sound insulation around bedrooms and bathrooms. I don't need to explain why. This is all ready to go. Everything's roughed in, fans in, lighting's in, the fan. We have a new exhaust fan, duct run out to the outside. All of this framing is ready to go. We have blue tape holding in our insulation. It's not pretty, but it's currently getting the job done. Once the drywall goes in, all that stuff will just kind of hold itself in. And then we're waiting for cabinetry and paint now. Drywall, then paint and cabinetry. I got a little ahead of myself there. We got custom cabinetry coming in. We've got a whole cool built-in going in there. We have a Murphy bed coming in behind us, custom vanity, and then all kinds of modifications to the cabinetry that we have already existing to accommodate the new design, which I'm really excited about. Shannon from Color and Crown, shout out, did a great job on this project. So I think that's it. Gomar, do you have any other questions?
Dude, you jumped to the ceiling?
Yeah, dude, I just jumped and I came back from the bottom. Back at Bailey, we're cruising over here. I feel like I always say that. I always reference how fast we're going, but last week was a lot of like meticulous stuff, but this week, all of the meticulous stuff that was done last week, we're starting to hit pay dirt, as the gold miners say on Gold Rush. I love that show.
2 layers of gold-rich pay dirt.
Joe Teresi was out here last week getting the walls and everything prepped for drywall. Then we had the electricians out here making sure everything was good to go so that we could move forward. Because right now what we're doing is tile. This entire basement besides the cinema is getting heated tile floors. So these guys will be here until the end of time, making sure that everything is perfect. But it is a quite tedious floor to install, not only because it's roughly 800 square feet of tile, give or take, but it's also like really long and skinny pieces that resemble wood. So making sure that everything visually looks good, as well as everything's laying flat, is a really big importance. When things are done right, it looks amazing, but also with such a large area, if the tile's not done right, you're gonna very easily see it. And everything else in this basement is top notch, so we didn't spare anything on the floor as well. So Tile Studio is here today with the A-team moving forward into the floor. They've been working on actually laying the floor. They started yesterday morning. They, got a lot of like the figuring out part of it done, and now they're in a larger area as well as a closet moving on forward. Once you get into a good rhythm and everything like that, the tile goes down pretty quickly, but it's really the setup that takes a long time on this. So got a lot of area to tile. Cabinets and vanities and things like that are all just waiting to get delivered. So once this tile goes down, we'll have the cabinet company come out, put the vanities and the custom built-ins in and everything like that. And then we're going to move into trim scope and then final paint, and then the movie theater's going in. So in this room, the walls are black. This is the cinema. The room will ultimately be painted this color, and then the sound panels will be installed over top of this. So all of the trim, the carpet, the furniture, the sound panels, everything in here is going to be black, because when you're watching a movie, you want it, as dark as possible, so the lights coming off the projector or the screen or whatever is the only thing you see. We used a space age poly polymer in here that actually reflects sound. No, I'm just kidding. It's complete bullshit. Complete bullshit. I couldn't do that to you guys. The walls are just primered right now, but the painter gets the primer tinted with the space age polymer from. Go in there and ask them for it. Dude, sidebar, salespeople are the worst, right? You go in there and they're like, what can I help you with? I'm like, I'm here for paint, obviously. And they're like, they start talking to like, what job are you working on? I'm like, why don't you just get the paint, dude? Stop talking to me. Every single person in there, right? Ask Joe, ask any of the painters, dude. People, dial it back. Stop calling me. I don't buy paint. The painters buy the paint. Stop asking what job I'm on. You don't know what job I'm on. Anyway, we get the primer tinted. It makes it way easier to go through when you actually, like if you were to primer these walls white and then you were to paint them black, it's a lot of work. It makes no sense. So what you do is if you're doing a color or you know what color you're painting your walls, you primer tint, paint the walls with the primer, and then when you go to actually roll the paint, it comes out way nicer. You get a way deeper color and it's way easier to roll on. You still want to do the same amount of coats, obviously, because high fashion, we've already been over that. Do the right job. Don't tint the primer and then only one coat the customer's walls. You are rude. Don't do that. I'm giving you this tip so your walls look better, not so the job's faster. Or, I mean, it probably is faster. Not so you can cheap out. So Joe will be back to paint and finish, you know, everything in here before the sound panels go on. We have to put the trim in. On the floor, we have 2 layers of sound dampening and then just the carpet, which is dampening sound. So you could argue 3 layers. And then that will get put in once these guys are done tiling. We have these huge rubber rolls that we gotta figure out how to get down here. That'll be a struggle. Get those down here laid out, glue them down, underlayment, carpet, things will pop. Once this room is done, then the sound panels and the technology will go in. So those guys are all waiting on us right now. So I think I talked about it, I probably most definitely talked about it in previous videos, how we were using Quiet Rock drywall products, our gypsum board product, on the entire basement cinema area, specifically to just help with the sound conditioning. But if you actually look in here where the drywall is cut for the speakers, you can actually kind of see, if I can try, like see how I'm separating the pieces of drywall like that? And like I can kind of like, I can probably just take this like drill bit and kind of just wedge it in there. See how that goes in there? That is like this, the Quiet Rock has that space in there throughout the entire wall. So there's 2 layers of drywall glued together, or some of the Quiet Rock products have different materials in between the gypsum product, I'm pretty sure. And what that does is more uncoupling or decouple from the wall, like more sound reverberation. I guess the ultimate expectation is that it gets kind of trapped in there and doesn't vibrate more of the rigid structure like the walls and everything like that. So it's kind of wild to see. When the product's going in, you can't see it on the factory edges until you cut the drywall itself, or the Quiet Rock itself. You can actually make out the gap there. So a little like there's actually Quiet Rock down here. And that's like, so if you tell your customer that you put Quiet Rock on their basement and then they go and see this and then they watch this video, it's oopsies.
Still don't feel good. Is there a fingerprint on your lens? There is, dude. You got a massive fingerprint on your lens. Oh, wow. Yeah, you love this part? Everybody's ready for me to talk. It's super awkward, but this is how the donuts are made. You think this is great? He's saying how good of a job. If you didn't hear, he's saying how good of a job. But so we're here, Bailey basement. Still don't feel good. Going through real quick, we just have a little break on the action here. I think there was like 6 people or so down here all working, and it's a big basement, but it's not that big. So we have Eric, the electrician, here, making sure all the switches, receptacles, and everything are in their final place, because the painters, Joe Teresi, is also here getting the trim and everything prepped for paint. Once Eric's done making holes in the wall and everything like that, the walls will be ready. And then over in the cinema, we have Chase and Liam working on the underlayment, or the first layer of underlayment for the cinema. So in previous videos, we talked about the 2 different layers. The first layer kind of feels like if you took a pencil eraser and made it into a flat piece of paper. It rips very easily. It's very, it's interesting to work with. The floor was prepped. They're gluing it down and then rolling it out. Oh my god, I can't take him seriously when he's like that. Dude, I want to get this in one take, Chase, please. So then after they're done putting that layer down, it gets cleaned and prepped again, and then we put the thicker layer down over top of the entire concrete slab, and the sounds or the uncoupling will be complete, and the room will be ready for the Cinematech people to come in and install the sound panels and all the acoustical panels and everything to get finalized in the cinema so that we can watch all the movies we want.
We're back at the basement. Things are cruising right along here. Honestly, this project has gone, despite all of like the details and everything like that, everything here has gone really smooth. I think that's a testament to probably Shannon from Color and Crown. She did a really good job putting the design and all of the selections and everything together for us. These design booklets, and then communicating to everyone on our team when anything came up very quickly. And then also just doing a great job in the beginning, setting up the visuals of this basement, because it is still kind of messy here, and we're in the punch list phase, as we would say, inside baseball there. Punch list phase is the make or break of the project, like how much time you have to do punch list. Your availability to can focus on the punch list is important too. So we're in that point of the project where we want to make sure we go through and add every little thing that needs to be done to the to-do list in our Builder Trend system. So the software program that we use, Builder Trend, pretty popular throughout the industry, has a really nice system for capturing like all the action items that need to be taking place in the future by whomever on your team, whether it's in-house people, team, Gilmar making content, things like that. Like everything's kind of tracked through there for us. We take the time to, like, if something needs to be fixed, we fix it. You gotta attack these things in someone's home. Like you gotta put the care into all the extra little finishing details and making sure everything is actually how it is supposed to be, how it was expected. But since we've last checked in, so much has happened here. Now that it's like come together, even Gilmar knows, like there's so much, like you can see how much there is going on in such a compact space, and that comes down to planning and making the space work for like your intended purpose. But you can turn your basement into a whole nother level of your home. And like in this level, we have what will be the gaming center after next week. We have Murphy bed, which is a built-in, the kitchenette, which is getting rebuilt next week, the bathroom, and then the cinema, which is kind of like the crown jewel. I actually also have some really cool artwork coming in for like the little office area on the other side that's really exciting as well. And then we have a really exciting movie poster going over there that's like a digital screen that will actually put the movie screen up, that like say a movie is on in a theater, like whatever movie that is will be like the cover of that movie will be on the screen. So the level of technology and lighting and the Hue lighting system and the Lutron lighting system and the cinema and all this technology, like we'll probably get into in the very end when it's all like finishing and functioning. But all of the lighting in this basement is fully controllable in terms of what it can do in terms of color, functioning with speakers or music. Say like you're playing something on Spotify, like the lights can actually like function in relationship to the music. So if like you set up the basement for a party or something like that, like the possibilities are endless. Completely not necessary, but it's awesome, so everybody wants to do it. Going back into like the punch list or the perfection phase, this door right now is perfectly fine. Like it opens and functions. But what ended up happening was like as the customer came down and saw the basement coming together, the request was made for us to ultimately put hidden hinges in and then make this door on a magnetic latch so you can like push and release it. Because ultimately all this door is being used for eventually all the technology and computer systems powering like the cinema and stuff will be on display through here. He was like, oh, it'd be cool if this was hidden, like a hidden kind of door that was just like glass with, could you do that? And I'm of course, but it's going to take a couple extra days, and he's fine with it. As long as you're cool with everything, you know, we'll change stuff all day for you. We're after making you happy. It seems backwards to some people, but the cabinet company that's refinishing all of the cabinets will obviously like do all of their work and then paint this last before we do final paint touch-ups. It doesn't make any sense to spend so much money on finishing and doing the cabinets with so much other people working, carpenters carpet people, trim guys, you know, the technology guys, so many things happening here. God forbid you finish all those cabinets and then one of them gets damaged, then you got to bring the guy all the way back in. So in this situation, it made sense, and we decided to do it in this order so that there was no risk to the final product, because what we're doing on this and then keeping the cabinets over in the kitchenette and just refinishing them with new doors and then changing out the style a little bit and then repainting them in place with, I believe, like an HVLP paint sprayer, which atomizes the paint in such a way that like you get like a really hard surface, you get a very durable surface, almost to the standard if you did it in like an air controlled shop. The bathroom is pretty much done. We've got glass coming in and a little bit of template for the countertops already taking place. We're waiting on glass, countertops, and then final plumbing and tile can happen. We've got like a really cool mirror for the bathroom. That's also awesome. Like everything in here is just kind of like really well thought out. The carpet just went in this room. We did have to glue it down to the floor beneath us, not necessarily to the concrete, but we glued it down to the 2 layers of sound absorption material that is beneath us. There's one layer that is like the uncoupling membrane that goes underneath, and I think we saw it last time we were here. We were pulling pieces of it apart. That was the day we were all down for the count, so that's a rough day. And then we have another layer of rubber based material. I really don't know the technical aspects of it, but it seems like a gym floor in type of way, but it was acoustical gym floor, so I don't know if it was up to maybe the durability of a gym floor. And then the rest of this room has already been paneled with the fabric. I don't want to even touch it, but there is a whole layer of foam and then sound directioning type foam on different parts of the wall. Basically, there's just a metal grid system that goes through all of the, you know, the paneled areas, and once the grid system is in, then they put the sound foam, absorption foam on, and then they put the fabric over top of it and they stretch the fabric. It's not coming back, is it? That was the day we were all down for the count, so that's a rough day. They stretch the fabric into like this really cool channeled system. It goes all around all of our receptacles, our light bars. This room's also in punch out. We have special electrical outlets going in, worldwide stereos in progress of like putting all the lighting together. So we have 2 of the light bars in place that are still getting fine-tuned. We're trying to figure out the track length. Like what we have right now isn't the length that we actually needed, so we're waiting on new metal track and like the lighting aspect. These 2 ones we left out for the sake of the video. This is what's inside the wall. So basically we built this, or Mike and the guys, Mike, Chase, and Liam, built this really great, solid, like this thing is like this is never leaving the house, like this trim system. So we basically built this like vacuum sealed inside, and then the light boxes actually just kind of slide into place. So it's like a little T-shaped thing. And they built it so tight that like when you push it in, you can literally feel the air leaving the system. So it's like an app when your iPhone, the box you're like, oh man, this is a nice box. Like that, every single one of these, when we put them in, it was like super airtight. So shout out to them for, you know, always doing the team right. So we left these out. We have low voltage wiring behind here. All of these everything will be controlled by the Lutron system in here, which is a worldwide thing that we'll talk about once all that stuff's set up. All the speakers are behind these walls, are all illuminated. So every single speaker inside this room, once the final electric in this room is up and running, we'll be able to show you like every single speaker location. It's starting to get down to the time when I came in here yesterday when they finished the carpet. I was like, the time is on. Like, I don't even want to wait anymore. Let's fire a movie up. So I can only imagine the customer is probably upstairs, like he's probably at the basement door right now in Gilmar, just like, oh man, they're down there. I wonder if they're finished. That's how I would be. I would be so excited. I'm so happy for them. That's pretty much it. Like everything's looking really great. It's just like at that point we're cleaning up, getting things fine-tuned. We have a couple trades that need to come through. Countertop, glass, a little bit of tile that, you know, is related to the countertop. And then we're like in completely final punch out. We're cleaning out. The next video, I don't know, the next video, maybe at least 1 or 2 videos from now, like this place is going to be done. It's going to be sick. I'm pumped. The basement, killing it. We're fully in punch list phase right now. We just got little odds and ends to do. Pulled some of the tape off when we sprayed all the cabinetry and everything like that. You know, peeled off paint, and we have little tape marks everywhere where there's paint touch up or there's, you know, a few odds and ends like the receptacles on the backsplash need to get screwed in and plate covers, but otherwise this basement is pretty much wrapped up. And we're also waiting on a bunch of fine tuning from Worldwide Stereo on their systems. There's so much technology and computer systems and amps. That's what I know. A lot of watts, bunch of watts right now. We got a bunch of watts down. Got 6,000 watts. We're 6,000 watts weaker than we should be on subwoofers, and just weird technical stuff that they're working through. That's gonna happen on these big jobs. We have all the artwork up. We have the TV screen. It's actually just kind of like a movie poster screen. We are using it exactly like what it's intended for. It's meant to be like kind of like a poster and like an animated screen like that. It's not really intended to be a television, but it is pretty much a television flipped on its side. That's what it is. But it's got a really cool frame, comes in a bunch of different styles and things like that. It is a really interesting piece of branding down here. I hope that peels off, because if it doesn't like that, I hate when companies like put their stuff like smack dab on the middle of it. Like, we just want a plain black frame around it. So we're gonna figure that out later. I saw that earlier. Waiting on the plumber, final faucet. Right now, this is the old faucet, doesn't even have a handle. So that's what we're working with. The project is 98% finished. This week is a short week because of Thanksgiving. So we're focusing on just getting all these little odds and ends tidied up. And then next week, we're doing all the stuff with Worldwide Stereo, calibrating the movie theater. Even though the movie theater is up and running right now and it's got a lot of power, it's amazing. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's amazing. And to think that it's not fully powered up yet is wild to me, but there's so many like points, and you gotta like calibrate all the sound and make sure that everything is like, the sound is coming out at the right time and wavelength and everything. There's a lot of technical stuff that goes into that I didn't quite appreciate off the bat. Most favorite thing about the basement, besides the movie theater, is definitely the piece of artwork. We have Hue light bulbs inside of a track light that Shannon picked out, our beautiful designer. She has this artwork that the customer was, you know, really into. It's the map of a brain. It's kind of like the neurological map, or it's supposed to reference that. And then when the lights change different colors on the hue lights, it actually kind of like makes the picture move or look different based upon like what colors are presented, and it's supposed to kind of simulate the brain kind of moving around. So I think that piece of artwork is, you know, really cool. And of course we got the gaming center with all of like the backlighting. Those are Hue products as well. All the lighting in this side of the basement is all Hue, made by Philips. Has like a little hub based system that all of these light bulbs and everything kind of operate individually, and you can like program them to go pretty much full color spectrum. It might not be full compared to like the most elite options, but it's full that anybody going to be fully covered, you know, any civilians, any people like me or you know. But if you were trying to do something maybe in like the entertainment world, you might use a more expensive light. And then we also have the Lutron system in the movie theater. So we have both systems working simultaneously, but this is what is controlling like all of our backlighting here between each of the game system, the museum. The TV's not up yet because we have a little bit of painting touch-ups we have to do up here, but everything is really starting to come together and we're starting to get like the final feel. I know we're gonna get weird questions on stuff like this, but like all of the gaming stuff that you see in terms of like the stand, like how it's presented, all that stuff is 3D printed and came from Etsy. It's engraved with like the specific unit it's supposed to hold. For instance, they got like the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo. There's no mistaking what it's supposed to go to, but it's also a cool little touch. Instead of just having like a clear handle, it literally tells you like what it's for, kind of like a museum, I guess. But we also, Shannon, our designer, got the draperies wrapped up for our only window because we're in a basement. So we're looking finished here. The floor heats up. Really happy with how things are looking.
We're back in the Bailey basement for probably the last time. If we come back here again, something's incredibly wrong because everything in this basement looks amazing and everything is finished. This project was something else. As far as basements go, there's not a whole lot more you could fit into a basement in terms of activities. This is a maxed out space and it's amazing. You can't see, but in front of me, we've got 3 beautiful love sacks. Back in my day, they were called beanbag chairs. These are premium, nice. I don't even know what they're made out of, but I could definitely fall asleep in one of these. Over here, we have the gaming center, and right next to me, we'll just touch on this real quick and it'll make more sense when we get over to the cinema, but this is the brains of the basement right here. There's actually 2 of these, one here and here, with all of the equipment. So there's even more equipment than what we can see through this door right here. But just behind this glass door, we have the equipment rack, which controls all of the automation in the basement, and especially the movie theater. When I say movie theater, I mean movie theater. This isn't a TV on the wall. We have moving chairs, vibrating chairs, haptic feedback, subwoofers, full speaker system. Our speakers have lights inside of them so we can prove to you that they're actually there. But before we get into the coolest part of the basement, we're over here at the gaming center. We have every game system that you could possibly want from the last 25 years, probably 30 years, going back to Nintendo, Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, GameCube, Wii. I don't even know what this is. That's how cool this basement is. I think that's a Wii U. Gilmar, we got it. Is that what we're doing? Wii U? Yep. That shows you what I need to know. I need to get one of these. But over here, we use the existing cabinetry that was in the space. It didn't make sense after Shannon from Color and Crown got finished designing the space. It really truthfully didn't make sense to rip all of this out and just replace it with the exact same thing again. So this is all refinished. This wire mesh doors were replaced with new doors, new hardware, and we were able to recycle this area, putting all the accent lighting in from Hue. We'll touch on that in a minute. And then moving over in from this area, we have the bar and whiskey collection, movie poster on the wall. This built-in cabinetry is brand new. It holds 2 gaming systems for the actual cinema itself. Up top here is the back of the projector inside of the cinema. So this is holding some equipment up top for us and allows us to service the equipment going forward into the future if we ever need to upgrade anything or diagnose any issues with worldwide stereo. They'll be able to get to the equipment very easily. All of these cabinets were already here. They looked wildly different. If you go back in our videos, you can see us taking them out. We had a wine rack up here. It was this weird color. I don't even remember what color. It was like a just brown wood. I don't even know what you call it, but we replaced fresh ice machine, beverage fridge, resprayed and purposed the cabinets over here with a new backsplash faucet, and we're good to go. We have this nice display. This is only a part of the collection, I'm told, but the double-tiered beverage center with the lights inside to just sync up with everything else inside this basement. I keep saying sync up, and what I mean by that, all the lights inside here are controlled on the Philips Hue system. So we're able to kind of set different moods and scenes throughout each space and control that in a variety of different ways. So for instance, we want to change the colors in here, we can literally change like each individual light bulb, the under cabinet light, everything. We have control over each item with full color spectrum, and we'll show you that in a second. So all the lights inside this basement are all controlled on the Philips Hue system. And if you're not familiar with the Philips Hue system, Google it. They have excellent tutorial videos explaining how to use their product, how to implement it in your space. And I guarantee you, once you watch their tutorials, you'll want it in your home. But for the purposes of our time here in the basement, throughout the basement we have 2 different varieties of Hue controller. We have this circular one that has 4 selectable buttons inside of the circle, as well as this dimmer control on the outside. And we're not necessarily beholden to any sort of controls out of the box. We have the option to change all of these switches and tell them what we want them to do, as well as control the dimmer in that given area that we're controlling with the switch. So any one of these buttons you can program to kind of set what Hue calls scenes. So say a scene would be like, hey, just came home from work, want to pour myself a nice glass of whiskey. That's scene number 1. So instead of turning your lights on and off, your lights actually become a part of like your home and your lifestyle. And you set the lights up to complement your lifestyle. So if you wake up at 5:30 in the morning and you want to have the lights on in certain areas of your house, but you only want them on at 30% and you want them to be orange so your eyes can get ready for the day, you have that controllability, literally down to like the minutia of details. Over here, we have a couple different scenes, obviously on off. Then we have just the under cabinet lights. So when you're watching a movie, we have low light above, just take a little peek-ski. And then we can change the colors as well. So going back on, we'll turn them all the way on, and that's what we have. So like that's just a little taste. In the bathroom as well as on the other side of the basement on our artwork, we have a little bit more action going on, but each one of these switches all syncs up onto the Hue app, and you can very easily, it's very user-friendly. I can't overemphasize how user-friendly it is. Some of these lighting control products that are on the market today take programming. They take a considerable amount of computer knowledge to make them work to the most you need them to. Whereas the Hue system is as plug and play as you get. The price point is also amazing. You're gonna spend a lot of money on light bulbs and these switches and dimmers anyway. For a couple extra more dollars, you can get full color spectrum, multi-functioning lights, a variety of different light products, under cabinet lights, the backlighting for the gaming center, accent lights, all these little things can really make your home feel incredibly different. One of the #1 things that differentiates a lot of our projects from just any given just basement renovation or kitchen renovation is our lighting controls. So when you come into one of our projects, when they're finished, all of the lighting is set and calibrated and set up a certain way to give the space the most energy back to whoever is in the actual space. And that's not for everybody, but if you're trying to reach that like customizable, or maybe you want to take your project to like the next level or your home to that, you know, do those little tweaks. This is one of the things that I was very skeptical on in the beginning, but now that we've been installing this product for a little while now, we also have it in our own home. I'm sold. I try and encourage as many people as possible to get this product. Not necessarily colors are cool, and that's always fun to change the colors for the holidays, but it's really just making your life easier, your home more pleasant, and then it maximizes the space. I guess I would compare it to getting a race car and then putting really nice tires on it. Car's still gonna be fast with normal tires, but when you put the race tires on, you just go that much faster. Let's talk about the movie poster. This is a television that's designed to be specifically a movie poster. It comes with this really cool frame. It essentially is a TV, but its purpose and like the computers and all the coding inside of this unit is for a movie poster in your basement. You could also put up other things on here for display, but the coolest thing about this is that whatever movie is playing in our movie theater, automatically that poster will come up on the wall. I don't know about you, but it's kind of awesome. A little nerdy extra that when you're getting into this customization, like that's what makes a project like this, like that cool little detail. One of the really cool things about a basement, being that we invested so much energy and time and money into building the egress stairs, having a bedroom down here legally is now permissible because we have the egress stairs. That's a means of egress for fire escape, and then we can put a bedroom down here. So this right here is a full Murphy bed. I won't lay down on top of it to prove it to you, but this is on a hydraulic actuator. This mattress right here is a memory foam mattress. It's incredibly heavy. We drug it into here and put it on top of here. But with one arm, you can push this whole bed back up inside here. Boom, done. If you're looking to make a modification to your basement, you want to add a bedroom, but you don't really want to just like block off the whole bedroom, this is the greatest way to do that. I might put this in my master bedroom. Just hide my bed away. I'll never have to make my bed again. But if you want to put a bed into a space and you're not sure of how to do it, you don't want to make it a bedroom, you don't want to just like completely ruin, just like make a square in a basement, put a bedroom in, and then you're never going to use that room again. Once a year, your mom stays over for Christmas and she sleeps in the basement. That's it. But when you have kids growing up, sleepovers, things like that, Murphy bed it's the way to go. It's a little bit more money than just perhaps buying a mattress and a bed frame. But when you're not using that bed for a majority of the year, you could just conveniently, put it away. Talking about Hue lights. Oh, wow. Speaking about Hue lights in here, we have the bathroom. One of the coolest things about this bathroom is obviously the light up mirror, which almost everybody does these days. We also have the bottom toe kick lights to accent the floor. We have the Hue lights in the ceiling. We have one of your standard Hue switches here on the wall, which controls a little bit of the functionality, as well as a switch to turn the mirror on and off. One of the things that you need to consider when you're putting in a light up mirror is whether or not you want to touch the buttons on the mirror every time you use it. So when you push on the button once, it turns the mirror on, and if you keep pushing on the buttons, it'll change it through the color modes that it has. And then if you shut it off and then turn it back on, it'll go to the last mode you set it on. But then you have fingerprints on your mirror, right? You're gonna get yelled at all the time. Who put their fingerprints on the mirror? I might yell at myself for doing that. It's not needed. So we almost always ask if you want your light up mirror on a switch specifically, because that way when you come into the room, you don't have to touch the mirror, get fingerprints on it. Maybe your hands are dirty, just boom, touch the switch like a normal person and the mirror lights up. Going back to the hue controls, so hopefully this will turn them back to normal. And then, so we have them set on a variety of things in here. Turn them off, turn them back on, and they're normal again, cycling through the settings. So then we can also dim them all the way down. The lights on the floor, the lights in the ceiling, they all sync up together automatically through the app. You just say, hey, this is the toe kick light, I want it to work with these other lights. But as you can see, you can get a taste of like the different colors. This is only just a taste of it. I mean, this is kind of funky in here, but you're gonna start to see the possibilities. We have built-in cabinets here, extra storage on the left. We have this beautiful quartz countertop. Quartz can get a little bit of bad flack, in my opinion. I think quartz is a great product for bathrooms specifically. Quartz can be pricier. It's in the middle to higher price range. It's hard to give you a specific on where it falls. But one of the cool things about this is it's non-porous, it's man-made. It can't receive heat really well. Like you would never want to take a hot pan and put this on here. But as far as a bathroom, like you never really need to seal this product because it's non-porous. So the surface that's on here is just automatically protected through the creation process of the product. Whereas with like a marble or a granite, there's other complications that you have to think about when having those products in the bathroom. But being that this is moderate size vanity, like this piece of stone at the end of the day, like if it was a whole kitchen could be pretty costly, but because it's just like this one little piece, it's very easy to get very unique pieces of stone for these areas at a little bit more of a competitive cost. We also continued the stone through here as well to kind of just like match. And then the subway tile, it's always classic. We put it on a vertical bond here. That's how Shannon designed it. It takes a very, basic tile and then gives it a modern taste just by turning the tile sideways. I think doing tile vertically like this looks amazing. Some folks don't necessarily like that the grout lines are butt up against each other like this. Some people like the soldier stack and running bond and traditional subway. Nice flat black handles and fixtures throughout to match. Shannon did an amazing job of like making every little detail of this basement feel custom. So from the lighting, the mirror, the placement of the switches, everything was thought out about. Even here, I'll show you, just sneak in here real quick. This right here, with the glass door, you could easily think about how you could slam this door open and smash it. But these towel hooks were specifically selected so that when this door is open all the way, there's no way for the glass door to hit that. So it's like little details like that when you're working with someone like Shannon, it just all comes together in the end. It's our job to put it all together. But when you have someone on your team like that, like these things just happen very nicely. Coming back over to the hue lighting, we have a really cool piece of artwork on the wall here. This is a diagram of, I guess it's a neural map of your brain. This is essentially all like the nerve endings inside your brain, your neurons, I guess. I'm obviously not a brain scientist. This is carved with a machine, and each one of these little designs or everything is cut at a certain degree angle that the lights on the ceiling, when they are placed at the proper distance away from it, makes the actual neural map move and kind of like demonstrate like your brain neurons firing off. Took a little bit of planning and some back and forth, and to be honest with you, we moved this light probably 4 or 5 times, which was not easy, but in the end we got it perfect. The hue light bulbs that are in the fixture itself are all on a command, but you can kind of get an idea as to like how the lights are working with the art. And the art is actually designed specifically to work with these light bulbs and to give you that cool neural moving. But bringing you to the crown jewel of the basement is the home cinema movie theater. So we're in the cinema, the movie theater. Cinema just sounds, when you say cinema, you just feel a type of way. You feel fancy. The home cinema. Go back on our YouTube channel. The amount of technology and work that went into this small room is documented on the channel. It's episodes long. I think it's like probably 4 episodes long at this point. From the beginning, there's a metal beam that rolls through this entire soffit right here. We had a metal post in the ground right here. We cut a hole in the side of the house, pulled the small beam out, put a bigger beam in so we could get rid of the post. Otherwise, this couch wouldn't be here. That was the first thing we did. Reframed the whole room to the exact specifications that we needed in order to maximize the acoustics of this room. The fabric on the wall and insulation fabric for the audio was all custom made on site from Cinematech, partner of Worldwide Stereo. Worldwide Stereo was our partner on this project. They handled the installation of the cinema and all of the speaker systems and lighting controls inside this room. This room, we aren't using the Hue system. This is actually a Lutron system. It's, without putting it any other way, it's a complicated system to work with. If you're not trained in it or you're not extremely computer savvy, like if you aren't part of the matrix, you're not gonna be able to work on it. So the reason that system was used, the computer, yo, got him. Yo.
Just imagine like, someone's Neo now.
Yeah, somebody just Neo on the computer. Literally Neo from the Matrix put the technology into this room. The reason we use that is because the Lutron system works with the cinema systems. There's multiple systems, like the audio has a controller, the subwoofers have a controller. Those two systems work together. There's the projection, there's the lighting controls. The lighting changes for the movie as well. The lighting does a variety of things that a movie theater needs to do. A majority of the time, the lights won't even be on in this room, but you still want them to work a certain way. So we do have the accent lighting and everything like that. You want to watch a movie and have a little bit of accent on, we've got you. We have the cool movie style light tracks in the walls, custom built, inserted the light track, and everything's good to go. The coolest part about these chairs and couches is the back row, they actually move like you're in Universal Studios. Not necessarily like throw you out of your seat move, but they vibrate and they do a little bit of movement. So what's happening on the screen, you're getting the haptic feedback in the chair and you're getting to experience, your senses are experiencing extra that you don't really get. There's no way for us to document that. We did it one time. We were watching Ready Player One, the speed race scene through the bridge. I almost had to get up and walk out of the movie. It was that intense. So you have to be in, like, this isn't a casual man's movie theater. The screen, I believe, is 14 feet long. I know in a previous episode we talked about it being about 160 inches from edge to edge. So we're in that 14 to 16 foot range. And then this whole screen literally comes off of the wall and allowing the technicians to get back to the subwoofer systems that are behind the wall. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 massive systems behind the wall. We have the speakers inside of the walls that we can turn on the light and get a little visual feel for. This room is also fully insulated inside the framing. Then we have the metal bars that uncouple from the framing. Then on top of that, those use the ISO sound clips. So the sound clip with the rubber grommet inside the metal track reduces the vibration. The Quiet Rock drywall, the sheetrock product, Quiet Rock is actually a product, is extra insulated drywall, is then installed on top of that, plus the sound foam, plus the sound fabric. So when we're standing in this room right now, maybe you can hear it on the speakers if you're watching this video on like maybe Apple EarPods, you could probably hear it, but there's absolutely no vibration in this room. Like when the words I'm speaking right now, in some environments, when you're watching the footage back, it's a little echoey and we have to deal with that in the editing process. But in this room right now, like if you yelled at the top of your lungs inside this room, like you would not hear it outside of this room. And that is insanely cool. And when you experience it in person, it's a little bit unnerving. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like your brain can't quite register that the sound isn't, like you can't hear it. It's wild. Talking about how long this project took is a little bit difficult. We did it in phases. Phase 1 was the egress stairs over there. We did that last spring. So spring of 2024. Then we started the rest of this basement in the fall, and we were wrapped up in time for the holiday season. With a little bit of the technology that went into the cinema, there was some things in the end that took a little bit longer to come in, but the entire basement project, 99% of the basement was started and finished within 90 days. When you're starting to get into technology, cinemas, programming, and you're bringing in a lot of those resources from, you know, people from California, technology that we're ordering from overseas, or things are, you know, brand new technology, you want to budget time in the end of your project to work those bugs out. In terms of like the hue lighting system, very easy to install. All of the technology that went into the cinema was a lot of trial and error and fine tuning. You have to remember that that's a custom theater system. It's not pull it out of the box, plug it in, watch a movie. That room is engineered. So that tacked on a little bit of extra time in the end, but a basement project like this, including a bathroom and a kitchen, should realistically not take more than 90 days.